So, good morning to all of you. I welcome you to this Python lecture today. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about two topics: exception handling and the CSV module, which is used for data analysis in Python. Okay, I'll start with exception handling. So, let me begin by asking you all, what do you think is an exception? Kindly raise your hands to answer this question. What is an exception? You might have studied it in C++ also. So kindly raise your hands to answer what is an exception. Yes, Angad, go ahead.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, any error occurred is called exception. Any type of error.
So while we write programs and there is some syntax error, is that an exception, Angad?
No, sir, it's a compile time, but the runtime error.
Okay. So
Like
any error which occurs at runtime you are suggesting.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Manpreet. Manpreet, you answer.
Sir, anything which don't follow the particular rule and goes out of it, which is not done and left out, you can say it is an exception.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
वो भी ठीक
Let's
है सर
let's
वन टाइम
ask.
एरर
Okay.
वही
Inderjeet.
Uh, Sir, it's a kind of a runtime error. If we input anything wrong in our in our program,
Mm-hmm.
then some error occur,
Okay.
and we don't able to follow the whole program. So to run the whole program, we use these exceptions.
Okay. Yes, Tamanna.
Sir, as Manpreet had said that the exception handling is that if certain code doesn't follow the rule, I want to
Okay.
add to
Fine.
that
Fine.
if
Fine.
and if we want to see the output, if
Mm-hmm.
exception occurs, that is known as an exception handling.
ओके चलिए तो अनमोल आप भी बता दीजिए बेटा.
Sir, when we have to handle any error during the program execution and we still need that program should run even the error is raised, so we use exception.
ओके ओके ठीक है. All right. So all the
Okay.
answers are good. That's all right. That means if there is some problem of our program at runtime, then we term that thing that some exception has occurred. Okay, and we need to take care of that exception. Angad, just lower your hand, please. We need to take care of that exception. Okay, so I've opened this file. I will be using this file for the entire discussion for exception handling. So let's begin. What are exceptions in Python? Exception is a warning or an error condition. Okay, it's a warning or an error condition. Now Python has many built-in exceptions which forces your program to output an error when something in it goes wrong. Okay, so we have a mechanism in Python wherein some predefined or built-in exceptions are there which help you to take care of your program when something goes wrong in it. Okay, and what actually happens during this exception mechanism is that it causes the current process to stop and passes it to the calling process until it is handled. That means where the error occurs, the control from there is transferred to some other part in the program, and that particular error is handled there. Okay, if not handled, you see, if you don't do this, then our program might crash. Okay, so as an example, if a function A calls a function B, which in turns calls function C, and let's suppose that an error or an occurs in exception occurs in function C. If it is not handled in C, it will pass to B and then it pass to A. So exception needs to be taken care of. Okay, now how do we catch exceptions in Python? Okay, so we have a set of try and except statements or clauses. We have a try clause and we have a except clause. So whichever portion of our program is error prone, whichever program we feel that can cause error, that is written in a try clause. Okay, and whenever that error occurs, the control jumps from that try clause to the except clause. So whatever exception handling we want to write, we write it in the except clause. Okay, fine. Now it is up to us, what operations we perform once we have caught the exception. So how we want to inform the user, it's up to us. Okay. So I've taken an example here. Let's first look at this example. I've taken a random list. I've taken a list with the name as random list, which contains three things you can see: a string A, an integer 0, and an integer 2. Okay. So then I use a for loop, and this particular portion of my program, okay, is error prone. Specifically, this is the error prone portion. Okay, this is the error prone portion. R is equal to 1/int entry. Okay, so entry is the variable which is parsing through this list. So it will parse the string first, then 0, then 2. So can somebody amongst you discuss what sort of errors can occur with this when I write this and the list is there in front of you? What sort of errors can occur? Okay, I've not shown you the errors which can occur. So what sort of errors can occur? Okay, let's ask Inder.
Uh, Sir, firstly, we have in list we have A. When we divide it by an integer, it will give an error because A is
No,
not
no,
an
no, no,
integer.
no, no, no. Okay, wait, Inder. Yes, Angad.
So the error is the unable to convert a character to integer.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so a string cannot be converted to an int. That is one type of error. What other errors can occur in the look into the
So,
list? What other errors can occur?
sir, one divided by zero, sir.
Yeah, so divide by 0 is another problem. When
Yes,
we pick up the second element of the list, r will become 1/0. Okay, so that is
yes, sir.
another problem. So now there are two ways. Either we can use predefined exceptions or built-in exceptions to catch the exceptions on our own. ठीक है, हम क्या करेंगे कि हमें पहले ही पता है कि ये एरर आ सकता है, तो उसी तरह के एक्सेप्शन हम लिख देंगे. But if we are not aware of what type of error is going to occur, then there is a method in the sys module which can help us to pick up the type of the error. Okay, so we have imported the sys module here, and if I write here sys dot, the method is exe underscore info. Okay, this is the mechanism to print the exact error which has occurred. Okay, fine. So this is the code. Let's open it up in our Python ideally. Yes, Angad.
Sir, we can do without importing the sys module. Uh, Accept exception as something variable.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there are many ways. So we are learning the first way when we don't know what type of error is going to occur. Okay. So
Okay,
this module would help you to pick up the exact error. Okay. Just wait for the other things to come on. All right.
okay, sir.
So lower your hand also. So I've opened this Python ideally, and I'll open the file here. So let's see if we have. Yeah, I think this should be the same. Yeah. See, the same program I have picked up here. I've taken a random list with these values. Okay, exactly the same thing. Okay, and then there I've written whatever Angad wanted, that we can pick up an error here. Okay, we can pick up an error here. So maybe I can just modify it like this to begin with. Just give me some time to bring you up to this thing, right? So here what I've written, we can just write a simple except. That means when we write it like this, we are not aware what type of error is going to occur. So we can use this to print the actual error. Okay. Otherwise, we can write like this: except value error. Okay, except value error, and If the value error occurs there, it will jump into this and it will print this value error has occurred. So, are you able to hear me? Give me a raised hand if yes. So we're discussing this when I write this except value error, okay, then I'm looking for an error of this type, okay. So if some error occurs here in the try clause, then it would be, thrown into this and caught by this except clause, okay. And see, the try needs to be written like this: try, then a colon, and then except also like this. Except can be written without anything also. That means you are not aware about the error that is going to occur. So if I run this, you can see now how it is executed, okay. The entry is A, okay. So when the first entry is picked up, first it prints the entry, then this statement, you know, gives it an error and it goes to this value error. So it says value error has occurred. And then it does not go to the other except, because this has been caught and handled, then the remaining are skipped, okay. And then again in the loop it goes to this 0, okay. So 1 by 0, now you don't have a divide by 0 error here, okay. So it will go here in this except and print the error message using this sys module method. See, it has printed class 0 division error occurred, okay. And then within it, it says next entry. And then the last entry is fine 2. So 1/2, the answer 0.5 is printed. So this is how you can work with the exceptions. All right. Okay. Now you can, and one more thing, this error message has been given by you. Okay. So you can assign some variable here like this, and then you can just let it take care of, printing the message, error message on its own. So we'll have some standard message here. You can see now what is printed. Okay. So this is a standard system message: invalid literal for int with base 10. Okay. So int, the string cannot be converted to int. So this is another way of doing it. Writing like except value error, that is the exception handler predefined built in, and then as VE, and then you print this message here. So you can print your own message also and a system generated message also. And the sys module method exe underscore info, this can also help you to print messages if you are not aware about the type of error which has occurred. Okay. So let's take another example. Let's take another example. Let's take this X5. Look at this code now. Okay. This is regarding handling multiple exceptions. Okay. So now here, instead of one exception, I've written two. Except I've written type error and 0 division error. Can you see? So whichever error is caught, it would be handled. So can somebody tell me what is the output of this? Because uh, would there be some error? Yeah. Raise your hands to answer this question. मेरे प्रोग्रामर्स कहाँ चले गए? इंदर, ओके, मनप्रीत, और बाकी बच्चों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तमन्ना, इज द सेम लिस्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स. ओके, अनीशा आप बताइए बेटा. अनीशा,
Yes, sir. Sir, if we
which error it would be catching? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप लोग सब समझ लीजिए कि अगर आपको एक ही एक्सेप्ट में मल्टीपल एक्सेप्शंस को कैच करना है तो आप इसको ऐसे लिख सकते हैं: एक्सेप्ट टाइप एरर कॉमा 0 डिवीजन एरर. सो whichever error it catches first, it will handle that. So I'm asking Anisha, which error it will catch first from the code that is written?
sir, 0 division.
Okay, you think it would be a 0 division error. Okay, let's ask Manpreet. Yes, Manpreet.
Sir, it will go to type error first because it's written first.
Which error?
So type 1 by x.
Okay, so you see, Anisha and rest of you all, when you enter x here, you saying enter an integer, but you are using the input method, so it is going to input a string here. So an integer cannot be divided by a string. So this is a type
Yes, sir.
error here. Okay, so this type error would be caught. Okay, let me show you this. So let me enter say 1. Okay, so this is 0.5, 1 by, just a second. Okay, so it has caught the exception and the class is type error. And see, again we have used here this method sys.exe underscore input to generate. So whichever exception is handled out of these two, so this error b is equal to 1 slash x, it jumps into this except and it matches with this error. So that's why the output is exception caught class type error. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just shift this before this. Okay. Now what type of error is going to occur? Inder and Manpreet, you can lower your hands. Somebody else can now answer. It's easy. Now what is the error that is going to occur? I want some other students. Okay, Jyoti wants to answer. Yes, Jyoti.
Zero division error.
Yeah. So we can see once we reach here, we are inputted x, then c is equal to 1 slash a is going to throw an exception which is caught by this except block and it matches with zero division error. So if I now run it, you can see if I whatever I give here, so you can see it's a zero division error. Is that clear? The idea of handling multiple exceptions, if it is clear to all of you, you can give me a raised hand, because I think this is a very easy topic. Once you've understood where to write the error prone code and how to handle it and what are the built-in exceptions, then you can work easily with it. All right. Only a few people have raised hand. बाकी सबको समझ में नहीं आ रहा. Yeah, let it be a good activity, raising hands, so that you are in with us all the time. Okay. एक और प्रोग्राम ओपन कर लेते हैं. Let's now discuss a raise statement. Okay, so far what is happening is if some exception is being generated, it is throwing some exception object which is being caught, and this is happening automatically. You are not doing anything in this, but you can also raise an exception explicitly on your own. Okay, so let's see how we can raise an exception. Let's see an example for that. Okay, so we can raise our own exceptions also, we can raise standard exceptions also. Okay, so in this example I've shown you how we can raise a standard exception. See, I've written a program in which I input a positive integer. I'm writing enter a positive integer, but if the user enters a value less than 0, okay, less than or equal to 0, okay, then the value error should be raised. So how it is done? With the help of the keyword raise, as you can see. Okay, fine. And then here, as usual, we have written except value error as VE, print VE. Okay, let's run this program now. Have a good look at it. Okay, I'm writing here. Let me just revise this taskbar. This will keep on popping up messages. So okay. So it is enter a positive integer. Can somebody now tell me what is the output? I've given the positive integer as 11. Okay. So this is the program. What will happen? Raise your hands, please. What is the output of this program? will it go to the except block? Yes.
Sir, no output क्योंकि
No
हमने कुछ
output.
किया ही
Yeah,
नहीं.
because we
Yes.
are just testing that this code should run, or maybe if I write something here, will it work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I now run it, so here there is no output, okay, because we in the previous part we didn't write any output. So if I run it again and give the value as 11, so it will print 11 because it has bypassed this except, okay. And let's now again run it, giving the value as minus 45. Okay, it still prints that value, okay, but it says that is not a positive number. Okay, see this now. So how this has occurred, it has raised the exception by using the raise statement. Okay, because you are using if statement, so you must raise the exception, a standard exception on its own. Then there is a finally clause also. Okay, there is a finally clause also. Let's see that finally clause. So how to use the finally clause and what it is, I'll discuss next. So finally clause is, even if there are some exceptions in your program and your program comes to a halt, okay, whatever happens to your program, whatever you have written in the finally block is bound to execute. Okay, understood? Because what will happen here is that if your program goes through this C is equal to A slash B and I enter the value of B as 0, so this will come and it will say because B is 0, divide by 0 exception has occurred. Okay. So after that, if you still want to print the value of A, you should write it in the finally block. Usually finally block is used to release the system resources. Suppose you are writing a big application and maybe it gets stuck up at some place, but you want all your resources, your open files or whatever pointers you're using, whatever data you are using, you want all of it to be released back to the system, files closed, okay, then you can use this finally block. That means whatever happens to your program, finally block is bound to execute. Okay, whatever is written in finally block will always execute irrespective of the whether your program runs or whether it fails. So I'll run this program first. See this. I enter A as 11 and B as 22. So I get the answer as C is 0.5 and A was 11. So A was 11 comes from this finally block. Okay. So it has run. Whatever happens to your program, it has run. Now let us run again and let us write here 11 and 0. So now it will go to this except block. It will first give this message failed because B was 0 and then the error class was, you've seen the error class is 0 division error, but this finally block it still executes. Okay, this finally block it still executes. So next, this finally block you should be very clear of actually. So let's take another example now, the last one, in which we'll be dealing with custom exceptions. That is making our own exceptions instead of the system defined exceptions. Okay, let's work with the last example for exceptions. And let's open up this code here. So you can see, there is an error class, which is the base class for all the exceptions. Okay, just like, whatever class you see is derived from the exception class, right? So we have taken an error class, and using this error class, I'll be inheriting it for other classes, and then we'll use it in some code. Okay, so this exception is the base class for all other classes. I've taken an error class, okay. Then I've taken a value too small error class, value too large error class, okay. This I want to raise when the input value is too small. I'll raise it on my own, okay. And this I will raise when the value is too large. Maybe I'm writing a guessing game here, okay. And you can see this program here. I'm going to generate a random number, okay. You are aware of this random module. So I'm going to generate a random number, okay, and then I want a user, to guess what it could be. Obviously it would be between 1 and 10. So uh, when the user enters a number, makes a guess, okay, we match it, okay, we match it with the number that we generated here. ठीक है, समझ रहे हैं ना आप? हम एक we are going to make a guessing game, a guessing program in which a user guesses a number and it is matched with a random number generated by us, and we see in how many guesses the user can actually pick it up. Okay, so to help him, if the number, it will just tell you whether the number is too small or too large. Okay, because we can't see this number. Okay, this number is generated within the program randomly, and we are not aware of it. So this number we are inputting. All right, so this is matched with this number. If it is less than that number, we raise value too small error. Okay, so this when we raise this exception, we have written here except value too small. Okay, this is our own generated exception. Okay, this is not a system defined one, and we print a message in it, this value is too small, so the user is prompted to go for a for a higher value. Similarly, if a user enters a small value which is, far away from the actual guess, then it will say this value is too large. And ultimately, because we are just picking up 10 numbers, the user will reach there. Okay, and we can count in how many attempts he does it. So we have taken a count variable here, and whenever the user inputs a number, then the count is incremented by 1. Okay, and if it is not less, it is not great, that means the number has matched. So in that case, this loop breaks, and we have taken an infinite loop which is taken as while true. Okay, so we have written while true. So till the time the some condition is true, it will keep on running, and it is a sort of an infinite loop, only that this break takes care that it puts it out of this infinite loop, and this break is dependent on these two if statements. Okay, I hope the program is clear to you. Let's have a look at it again. I've taken an error class, okay. Then this value too small error inherits from error class, the value too large inherits from error class, and we use these classes to give some indication to the user to how to go about the guess. Okay, so let's run this program. It would be more clear then. So let's enter a number. Now a random number has already been generated. You can see this part of the code. We have reached here. A random number has been generated. It's stored in the variable number, and then user is prompted to guess it. So enter a number to guess it. So when I give a value here, let's say I give a value 3. Okay, it says this value is too small. That means that the random number generated is greater than 3. So I go with 5. So it again says it's too small. So I go with 7 now. So 7 was the number which was generated, and I, guessed it in 3 chances. So this is how you can raise your own user defined exceptions. Okay. So this is a broad overview of exception because there's nothing much in this topic. But what we can do is when we have our lab sessions starting from 1st of May, we have our lab sessions like 1 theory and 1 lab per week. So there I'll be picking up some very good examples on exception handling so that you can use them effectively in your programs. Okay. Let's now move to the next topic. I'll just close this, close all the windows. Yeah. Okay. The next thing is assertions. Very interesting topic, short topic, but a very interesting one. So, what is an assertion? Okay, assertion is, when we are asserting something, when we are suggesting something, कि ये ऐसे होना चाहिए, this should be like this. When we assert something, that is assertion. Okay, so these are the statements that assert or state a fact confidently in your program. Okay. For example, while writing a division function, you are confident the divisor shouldn't be 0. So you assert that divisor is not equal to 0. Okay. And assertions therefore are simply Boolean expressions that checks if the conditions return true or not. If the condition that you have asserted returns true, your program runs smoothly and moves to the next part of your code. However, if your assertion statement returns a false, the program stops there and throws an error. I hope the things are clear. Assertion is a statement, okay, which can either be true or false. So if it is true, that means everything is okay. Whatever you are asserting is true, no problems. Your program runs smoothly. But if your assertion statement is false, the program will stop and throw an error. Okay, so it's a sort of a debugging tool, which can stop your program as soon as some error occurs, and it shows you on which point of the program your error has occurred. So let's look at this flowchart to understand assertion. Okay, so here is the assertion condition. If this condition that you have asserted or stated, if it is true, then your program continues to run. If it is false, your program stops and gives assertion error. It will give you an assertion error. So there are two ways in which you can use assertion. There's a Python assert statement, which you can use in two ways. Okay, this is a built-in statement, assert statement, and this can be used in two ways. One is that you write assert and you specify a condition. The second one is you write assert and you specify a condition, and then you give an error message also, that what message should be given to the user. If you use this assert condition, then only assertion error message is given. Okay, I repeat, if you use this assert condition only, then when there is some problem, when your condition here is false, then it gives you assertion error. That's what is displayed. And when you use this, then assertion error as well as the error message is displayed. Okay, so I've written a description for this. Okay, look at this example, the first example. Okay, what is the output of this? Raise your hands to give me the output for this. I've written a short code. Okay, I've written a function which does something. You can just see the assert statement, then you can see how I'm running this program, and give me the output. Let's go ahead. Should be easy for you. Nobody is willing to answer. Okay. Yes, Ankush Kumar Mehra, unmute yourself. Yes, Ankush.
Yes, sir.
Ankush, what would be the output of this code that you see on screen that I have highlighted? See, what is the output here? Manpreet has taken so long to raise the hand. Manpreet जल्दी समझ में नहीं आया. ठीक है, मनप्रीत से ही पूछ लेते हैं. Yes, मनप्रीत.
सर एक्चुअली मैं अभी रूम में थोड़ा बाहर गया. सर एक्चुअली थोड़ा बाहर गया था.
अच्छा, पर आप लोग बाहर क्यों चले जाते हैं बीच पे? ऐसा कौन सा जरूरी काम है जो आपके बिना नहीं हो रहा? ऐसा है कोई काम?
नेचर्स कॉल.
अच्छा, फिर ठीक. नेचर्स कॉल, ऑलराइट. ठीक है. Let's have an answer from Inderjeet then. Yes, Inder.
सर इसमें एरर आएगा क्योंकि मार्क्स इज नॉट लेंथ ऑफ मार्क्स इज नॉट इक्वल is equal to 0 है, but the condition is false.
Which condition?
Assert condition is false.
हाँ, assert जो है हमने लिखा है कि लेंथ जो मार्क्स जो हमारी लिस्ट है
Yes sir.
उसकी लेंथ 0 नहीं होनी चाहिए, इट शुड नॉट बी इक्वल टू 0। बट जब हम
Yes,
रन कर रहे हैं तो हम एक एम्प्टी लिस्ट पास कर रहे हैं, सो
Yes sir.
इट विल अगर हम यहाँ से assert से नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट पे चले जाते हैं तो क्योंकि ये 0 है तो ये डिवाइड बाय 0 एक्सेप्शन हो जाएगी, लेकिन
Yes,
assert विल टेक केयर कि उससे पहले ही प्रोग्राम को हॉल्ट कर देगा with the message assertion error.
Assertion
Very
error.
good, very good answer. Okay, I hope all of you have understood. Let's see now whether it actually runs like this. Let's have a look. Let's look for a file. Maybe that we have a supporting file here. Okay, assert one. See the same example here. I've taken a function avg to which I pass a list with the assert statement that the list is not empty. Okay, length marks means I'm calculating the length of the list marks. So it should not be 0. The list should not be empty. If it is not empty, then you can find the sum marks by length, so you can calculate the average marks. Okay, so if I run it, have a look. Okay, it has told you that assert len marks not equal to 0 was a statement, so it's an assertion error. Okay, it's an assertion error which has occurred in line 7. You can see it's a line 7 here. Okay, fine. So let's pick up the other example now. Let's pick up the other example so that the things are clear to you. See this example again, the same one, but I call it twice. First with a list, then with an empty list. Yes, Aman.
The last program I didn't understood.
Last program?
I didn't understood.
Okay, this is the last program in front of
Yes,
you.
sir.
Ask what you have not understood.
Sir, len of marks not equal to 0. Sir, इसका मीनिंग क्या है?
आप बताओ, आपको लेंथ फंक्शन पता है कि नहीं?
Yes sir, पता है मार्क्स की
तो
लेंथ.
लिस्ट, हाँ उसकी लेंथ, तो आप जब यहाँ पास कर रहे हो एक एम्प्टी लिस्ट, तो लेंथ कितनी है?
सर कुछ भी नहीं.
0. लेंथ मींस की जो मार्क्स हमारी जो लिस्ट है उसमें कितने एलिमेंट्स हैं? कोई एलिमेंट नहीं है, 0 है. और आपने बोला है कि जो लेंथ है वो 0 नहीं होनी चाहिए. आप जब रन कर रहे हैं तो लेंथ 0 हो गई है, तो ये जो assert है ये यहाँ से इसको प्रोग्राम को हॉल्ट कर देगा और मैसेज देगा assertion error. Have a look at this error. Can you see?
Yes sir.
Understood now?
Yes sir. Thank you.
Okay. So let's open the assert 2 again. Assert 2 में I'm doing two things. I'm using the second way of using the assertion. I'm giving the condition here and I'm giving a message also. Okay. So when I pass this first list, it will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements are there. So len becomes 5 and sum, it would sum all the elements. ठीक है, मैं आपको easy करने के लिए I'll just write an easier example for you guys so that आपको समझ में आ जाए कि average क्या आनी है. So it is, the total is 15, elements are 5. So in the first case when I run, the average would be 3, and when I run it with an empty list, again it would give an assertion error with the message that list is empty. Okay, have a look now. Can you see average of marks, okay, is 3.0. The second one, it gives assertion error along with this message list is empty. This is the second way of writing the assertion statement. So you can have a look at this that I told you. The first way is, okay, first is this way, okay, and the second is we can have a condition and an optional error message. So I have written both the things here. You can see what is the output. Then you can see what are the key points to remember in assertion. You can just read it when I send this file to you. So this is regarding assertions. Okay. Again, we can write some good concrete examples when we actually work in our lab session. That's coming up from 1st of May. So let's have a break of, okay, let's now discuss the CSV module in Python. CSV stands for comma separated value. So this is one of the popular file formats that we have for our data sets online, right? You can have a large number of data sets which have a .csv extension. Similar to an Excel file, okay? CSV format is similar to the Excel format and contains data which can be analyzed. Okay, so that is a requirement for your lab part B also. And so I thought that we can discuss this CSV module. So pay good attention now, okay? Should be very interesting for all people who are programming oriented. So CSV is a simple file format used to store tabular data as a spreadsheet or a database. Okay, so it looks like an Excel sheet, but actually you can take the work of a database from it. It's sort of a database or a data set. Okay, and it stores numbers and text in plain text, and each line of the file is a data record. So just like you've done your SQL, rows and columns, so each line of your CSV file is a data record, and each record consists of one or more fields separated by commas. That is why the name comma separated values. Okay, and to work with such files, to analyze such files, we have an inbuilt module in Python known as the CSV module. Okay, inbuilt means that you don't need to install it; it is available all the time. Okay, so the thing here is that what we need to do to analyze the CSV files is two things. We can read from the files, we can read the data from the files, and we can analyze it, and we can display the data on the screen. And the second thing is that if you need to store back the analyzed data into another CSV file, then you can write into a CSV file. So two broad operations are there with CSV files. One is reading and one is writing. Let's begin with the reading part. And remember, this is going to help you very much in the case studies that have been given to you, the data set that you need to analyze, all would be done, and you will see how simple it is. Okay. So first of all, when you are working, you need to import the CSV module, okay, so that you can use it. And then you should have a file name, okay, the file that you need to analyze, okay, it should be a CSV file. And then you need to open this file, okay. So we have not yet reached file handling, but you have studied it in C, C++, so I assume that you understand that some open function and some close function is there to open and close the files respectively. In Python, there is an open function which is used to open a file, and it requires minimum two arguments. One is the file name and the other one is the mode in which the file is to be opened. So since we are dealing with reading a CSV file for analysis, the mode in our case would be R. Okay. All right. So I open a file with the open function, open method, and then assign it to some pointer sort of thing. This CSV file, this can just link up with this file name. It is linked up with this file name. Then from within the CSV module, there is a method known as reader. Okay. So you create a CSV reader object. Listen to it very carefully. You create a CSV reader object. You give the name, give it any name here. Then using this module, call this method and pass the file pointer that you created here to this. So that with this help, you can just parse through the CSV file. Okay, fine. And then if you need to pick up all the data from the CSV file, you can put it in a list simple with this for some variable in the CSV reader that you created here. Okay, and then append it to this list with the name as rows. Okay, if you want to see how many rows have been fetched, simply use this attribute of CSV reader, CSV reader dot line underscore num. This will print the total number of rows. Understood? So small thing, small syntax. When we use it, we'll understand it, right? So to use it, I have designed a small case study for you. Okay, very small one. Say I have a file for csv1 python.csv which contains Python sessional 1 results. Okay. So there is some sessional results in it. Let's analyze this file using CSV module and answer a few queries. First one is list the entire file, display roll number and name. Okay. So that is the end, right? Okay. So we have to do this case study. Okay. So let's do it. Let's keep on noting it. If you have copy pen with you, that's good. I'll be doing it step by step. Okay. I'll show you the CSV file also first of all. So let's go to our CSV file, whether we have this CSV file with us. Should be here somewhere. Yeah, we are watching just the PY files. We are just watching the PY files. So I can just make it all files so that we can see. This is the file, okay? This is the file we are going to analyze. All of you can see it. Let me open it. Okay, this is my CSV file. It looks like this, okay? If you open it, otherwise it would, you can open it in Excel also. See, I'll open it in Excel also. Let's see where it is. I'm going slow on this. Kindly keep on noting and keep ask a lot of questions if you don't understand anything. This is my file. Can you see this file here? It looks like a different sort of thing and it will appear differently here. Okay. Otherwise, it is comma separated, but looks like an Excel file. See, this is the data of your seniors when they were in 4th semester. Actual data is there. Okay. The fields are there. Have a look at it, how it is organized. Usually the header is not there. This header, university roll number, name, test 1, test 2. You can put it yourself just to be on the safer side. Otherwise, even if it is not there, there is no problem. You should know what is there in this first column, then the second column, then the third column, fourth column, fifth column. Okay. And the header I've given here, the university roll number, name, test 1, test 2, test 3. This is our file. Okay. So if you've understood how a CSV file looks like, give me a raised hand, all of you. How does a CSV file? Because when you actually analyze data, you'll be downloading a similar data set from the internet. Should not be difficult. Don't be overawed by it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be easy to analyze such a file, right? So let's now do the real part. Let's analyze it. Okay. And let's write a file here. Okay, new file. Okay, so I'm going to write the code. You can write along with me if you wish. So I'll first import the CSV module. Okay, then I'll open a file. Yes, Tamanna, you raised hands. You need to ask anything. Tamanna, you can raise hand again if you need to ask anything, please.
नो सर वो पहले से रेस था.
ठीक है. All right. Let me open the file here. What was the file name? 4csc1.csv. Okay, comma, I want to read from it. Okay, then I can take a list to pick up the header information and to pick up all the rows. Okay, just keep on noting things here. Okay. Now see one thing. If I just want to pick up the first row, that is my header row, the syntax for that is, you can write here, the name of the list is head. So you can write here head is equal to next and some syntax here. Okay. But before that, you must create a reader object. Okay. So I can create a reader object like this from my, see the syntax. I've created a reader object. I'll write it for you here. Creating a reader object. Okay. And this is opening a file. Okay. So what I need to do, what I've done here is creating a reader object and associating it with the CSV file. Can you see it? I have opened the file. Okay. and it is through this pointer f. This pointer f is passed to this reader object. Okay. So now this reader object can read the entire file, do the analysis. So to read the top row, okay, I just write here head is equal to next, the reader object, comma, none. This is the syntax to pick up the head information. So can somebody tell me what head information will come here? Raise your hands, please. If I run this program now, what head, what would be printed? Okay. Yes, Inder.
Sir, like student name, roll number. Uh,
What? Okay. Let's see, Tamanna.
sir,
Yes, Tamanna.
heading of the table.
Sir, university roll number, then
Yeah.
name,
Whatever.
then test
So,
one,
yeah.
test
Both
two,
of you
test
have
three.
given the correct answer. Whatever headings we saw in the Excel file, those
Yes.
headings would be printed. Let's see whether we can see it. Can you see? It has
Yes.
picked up the heading. See very carefully now because this it would help you in analysis. It has picked it up and returned it as a list, number one. Number two, the entries of the list are strings. Remember this. Entries of the list are strings, right? Okay, let's go ahead. Now, if I write here for I in CSVR, I'm using this CSV read module, and then I can write something like rows dot append I. So what I'm doing here, I'm reading now the header row I have already read with the next function. Now the cursor would move to the next row. It would be read. I would read it and it would, you know, append it to the list rows. And let me see if I can print I and what it shows. Let's see this. See, I have printed I. Do you see? I have printed I. Two things. One is that all the data has been appended to the list rows, and I printed it also. If I don't print it, okay, only the header information is shown. Is it clear? And then this rows I can again parse, say for I in rows. What will this do? Raise your hands to answer this question. So many people can answer. Okay, Anmol Chawla, yeah. Anmol चले गए आप? Yes, Anmol.
Sir, it will print the first five headings.
First five rows, okay?
Rows.
First
Yes,
five
sir.
values from the rows list. See,
Okay.
all right, correct answer. Okay, it has print and see the values are string oriented. Okay, and if I want to list the entire this thing, entire CSV file, then I can write like this. Okay, clear to all? So we have done the first part of the case study. In the हाथ नीचे कर लीजिए. You want to ask something?
Yes, sir. Sir, why we use none as a argument?
What? That is a syntax. See,
Okay, sir.
certain inbuilt things are there. That is a syntax. Similar to this syntax is going to come further. Keep an eye on it. ठीक है? Okay,
Okay, sir.
चलिए. अब देखते हैं interesting part. ये तो हो गया ना list the entire file. Now let's say we want to display roll number and names of the absentees. ठीक है? I'm giving a chance to all of you to work on it. I want to display roll number and names of the absentees. देखें? पहले आपको let me show you the file so that you are clear. कोई doubt ना रहे आपको. This is the file. देख लीजिए. Can you see कि कुछ बच्चे absent भी हैं? Okay, so I want to display their roll number and name. ठीक है जी? This is the file. नाउ आई वांट टू डिस्प्ले रोल नंबर एंड नेम्स ऑफ द एब्सेंटीज। सजेस्ट कीजिए कैसे करें। All right, Angad wants to answer. Inder, Angad, only few students are there. चलिए, yes,
सर हम ट्रेवर्स करेंगे रोज को और
ठीक है,
उसमें
ट्रेवर्स कर रहे हैं, इफ लगा देंगे।
यस सर। और अगर रोज का जो सेकंड होगा एलिमेंट, अगर
वो
वो
यहाँ पर है,
एबीएस,
हाँ बताओ, यहाँ पर है, ठीक है।
यस सर।
देख लो आप कौन सा नंबर है, मेरे को नहीं पता। सी द इंडेक्स लिस्ट है तो उसका इंडेक्स वही रहेगा, I0, I1, I2,
यस सर,
I3,
यस सर,
है ना।
यस सर। टेस्ट के हम करेंगे ना,
तो हम
जो
टेस्ट 1 को चेक कर लेते हैं, ठीक है। टेस्ट
ठीक
1 में
है,
कौन कौन एब्सेंट है, ठीक है।
ठीक है सर।
ओके, चलिए, तो I2 कर लें।
यस सर।
सो इफ I2
इज इक्वल टू स्ट्रिंग्स में एबीएस आएगा।
ठीक है,
यस
फिर
सर, हम
प्रिंट
प्रिंट
कर
कर
दें,
देंगे। यस सर।
क्या।
रोज ऑफ 0, 1
ओके,
एंड
0 1 कर
0
लेते
एंड,
हैं।
यस सर।
I hope all of you have understood this thing. It's that easy, this analysis. You can do anything with your data set. Even easier than your SQL part, I would say. So if I do it now, these are the people who were absent in test 1. Okay, you can count also. If you want to count how many students were absent in test 1, take a count variable here, and here you just increment it, and then you can print it. You write something like this. So total students absent in test 1 is 6. So like this, like let's see another query if we have there. Display the top 3 performers. Count we have done. Okay, count the number of students who obtained more than 50% marks. बताइए कैसे करें। तीनों टेस्ट को टोटल करना पड़ेगा, right? We need to total all the 3 tests. Okay, but then absent को total में नहीं कर सकते हैं. So if I2 is not equal to absent, this is I'm counting the students with 50% marks. Then I can take a variable S is equal to I2 plus I3 Manpreet, Angad, Inder, if you don't need to ask anything, just lower your hands, please. अगर नहीं कुछ पूछना है तो. Yes, Manpreet.
सर हमें एब्सेंट सभी टेस्ट में से चेक करनी होगी ना, I2, I3, I4।
अगर हम सभी में से कर रहे हैं, हमारी पहली क्वेरी थी कि
सर मींस
हाँ
की अगर,
इसमें, हाँ इसमें भी करनी पड़ेगी बिकॉज हम तीनों को ऐड कर रहे हैं ना.
यस सर।
सो अगर वो स्ट्रिंग जो है वो न्यूमेरिक में ऐड नहीं होगा, सो वी नीड टू चेक दिस. क्या लगाएं साथ में, एंड लगा दें.
यस सर, एंड।
So something like this we can write.
सर मेरे ख्याल से और लगेगा, क्योंकि किसी में भी अगर एब्सेंट हो गया तो हम नहीं चलाएंगे।
देख लो.
यस सर, और ही लगेगा, अगर किसी में भी एब्सेंट हो गया तो नहीं चलेगा।
नॉट लगा रहे हैं इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ. देखते हैं, लेट्स सी. प्लस I4 कर लें.
ठीक है सर।
देख लेते हैं, नहीं होगा तो फिर चेंज कर लेंगे, ठीक है. ऐसा कर लेते हैं, सम हो गया, ठीक है. और ये तो इस लूप में हो जाएगा ना, हर एक बच्चे के लिए सम निकल आएगा, राइट. तो कैसे करें इसको बताइए. काउंट कैसे करें?
सर इसको डिवाइड कर देंगे टोटल मार्क्स में से एंड उसको देख लेंगे वो बिगर देन 50 है कि नहीं है।
ऐसे हो जाएगा ये?
यस सर।
मेरे को लगता नहीं ऐसे होगा ये।
सर परसेंटेज ऐसे निकलती है जैसे सम का टोटल कर लो एंड टोटल से
नहीं, बट
डिवाइड
ये
कर लो।
लूप के कैन वी पुट इट कीप इट इनसाइड द लूप ओनली? फॉर आई इन रोज
सम करते नहीं है सर, उसको इफ में ले लेते हैं ना। इफ i2 plus i3 plus i4 divided by total marks is bigger than ऐसे कर लेते हैं।
ऐसे ले ले।
यस सर।
इज ग्रेटर देन
डिवाइडेड बाय मे बी सर
36 कर लेते हैं,
सर जैसे
12 के ले लेते हैं. Let's see how it works. Actually, when we are doing some analysis, then we need to concentrate a lot and see a lot of things. That I'll discuss with you all in my next class when I pick up one sample case study with you. I'll be analyzing one complete data set with you so that you have an understanding. Okay. And अब count बढ़ा के देख लेते हैं. Let's see whether it works or not. I have a feeling that it might not work. Okay. हो जाए तो अच्छा ही है. Yeah. So we need to, yeah, that's simple. Actually, we just need to do the, it is in string. So we need to put it as int. Let's put it as int here. Hope it works now. So 29 people are over 50%. Okay? Over 50%. That is total is 72. So we can do like this. This is a simple thing. But when we analyze a data set, first thing that we should know is like we understand how the data set is organized, what is the meaning of each of the column, what information, what data type, and then we can work with the queries. So I think that's all for today. How to write into a CSV file and then a CSV file case study and the file handling. That would be the last topic that I'll discuss in my next class. So इंदर ने बहुत देर से हाथ खड़ा करके रखा है. Yes, इंदर.
सर ऐसे तो सर हमारे काफी ज्यादा रिकॉर्ड जो हैं वो छूट जाएंगे बिकॉज अगर एक स्टूडेंट एब्सेंट हुआ तो बाकी स्टूडेंट उसके बाकी मार्क्स भी नहीं प्लस होंगे.
मैं समझा नहीं आपकी बात.
सर सपोज टेस्ट 1 में एक स्टूडेंट एब्सेंट हो गया बट वो टेस्ट 3 एंड टेस्ट
हाँ, जो एब्सेंट किसी एक में भी हो गया उसकी हम पोजीशन नहीं निकालते, ऐसे ही होता है.
यस
ठीक है.
यस सर.
ओके, चलिए ठीक है. Okay, then I stop this class. It was an interesting class today. I hope you have gained with this. Okay, and next week we have lab sessions also. So a good chance for all of you to revise everything. I'll be discussing each topic that we have covered in offline classes also in my lab sessions. तो अब जरूर लगा लेना और part B पे काम करना शुरू कर दो. You've understood how to analyze a CSV file. First of all the groups should look for data sets. पहले आप कोशिश कीजिए कि आपको डेटा सेट मिल जाए और हर एक ग्रुप का डेटा सेट सेपरेट डिफरेंट होना चाहिए. राइट. चलिए इसके बारे में नेक्स्ट लैब में बात करेंगे, लैब सेशन में. आई एम क्लोजिंग दिस क्लास नाउ. थैंक यू.